Today we're going to practice and review graphing some quadratic functions. You can notice on number 1 here that I've gone ahead and filled in some x values that are going to be helpful when graphing the quadratic parent function. You may remember already how to do this, and there's a pattern, of course, that you can follow. But if you were to go to your calculator, enter into the graphing screen f of x equals x squared, you would find these values, and I'm just going to write them in there. You should pause and do this for yourself. Notice all of my y values will be positive. So as I come over, again, this is the quadratic parent function. So I know that it will start at 0, 0, up 1 over 1, over 1, up 3, over 1, up 5 this time. And remember, the y-axis is going to act as an axis of symmetry. So I will have all of these same points reflected across the y-axis. And so we can just fill those in, and the graph is pretty straightforward in that way. All right, so that's really everything we're basing what we're doing today on. So the first thing we're going to look at is called the translation form. So we've got a form for a quadratic equation or function that we have not used before, where it says that y is equal to a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k, where the vertex can be named hk. All right, so notice we can find our h value right here if we take the opposite of what is inside the parentheses, and our k value does not change signs and can be found right there. So as a result, here is my a times x minus h quantity squared plus k. So my hk value will be 5, negative 8, and that in fact is our vertex. All right, so the 5 and the negative 8. Notice and pay attention to how the signs work there. You take the opposite of the h value, but you take the sign that is with the k. All right, so you've noticed here that I've picked some values too. You're going to want to consider this vertex and plug in some x values that kind of surround this point. So notice I've got 5 right here in the middle, so that's just kind of a way to plan ahead. So plug in numbers, and remember the vertex, the vertex is 5, negative 8. So choose numbers or values around that point. All right, so if you again pause and go back to your graphing screen, f of x is equal to your equation, you can then get some ordered pairs to match these. I'm going to just fill in what I know already, and then plot those points. So I know that my vertex is at 5, negative 8. So 5, negative 8, and then 3, 0, 4, negative 6, 5, negative 8, 6, negative 6. Again, you see the pattern. This one has a stretch of 2, and 7, 0. So here are some nice points for our parabola. Again, notice the stretch of 2. You could use the parent function and make a translation or a transformation, excuse me, to get that graphed as well. All right, let's try another one here. Number 3 says y is equal to -1. So we can know this time, since we have a minus sign right here, that we will not be opening upward, we'll be opening downward. So kind of plan for that. And here, this is really the same thing as x plus 5 times x plus 5. So we can see that really we can have our hk right here, which would be 0, so that our vertex is going to be -5, 0. So again, I selected these values to kind of be around the vertex value beginning with x at -5. So now let's fill in these values. So -7 would go with -4, -1, 0, -1, -4. Again, we are graphing parabolas, so it's not surprising that we get the same values repeated. Pause, take time to graph your points, and get your parabola. -6, -1, -7, -4, -4, -1. Again, we'll have an axis of symmetry coming right down through, and that helps to get your other points. -3, -4. All right. So our parabola would look like this. Okay, let's go on to the back side and look at number 4. Here again, we're going to use the translation form. So we're thinking this is really the same thing as -1. And notice here we've got x plus 0 squared. And then our k would be 3. All right, so we've just written it so that here is our hk. Our vertex then is 0, 3. And so I'm going to pick some values for x around that point, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Go ahead, pause the camera or the tape and find your points and graph them onto your little grid here, and then come back and check to see that we agree. Okay, I'll do a little graphing here. 0, 3 is my vertex. -2, -1, -1, 2. Okay, I want my point there, not here. Little mistake. 1, 2. I was right the first time, wasn't I? Forgive me as I just fix this up.